pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20 plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, Main Street Pizza, man.
You know what? We've during the break we got to eat a little bit of the pizza.
Yeah, we did,
and it's always good. We've talked about that, and it's always the same. Is what I like.
That's my favorite thing. Is it's always, if you find something you like, it's going to be that way every time.
We get the same kind every time. So.
For the most part, yeah.
Yep.
We always get the Pro Special. No olives, no mushrooms, add jalapenos.
Yeah.
And it's a great pizza.
Yep.
So, just like I explained to our audience earlier, Boomer, we made an offer to all the candidates running for office to advertise with us at South Arkansas Now and here on our podcast at Off the Back Porch. And Reko Roberson, who's running for mayor, was one of those candidates who took us up on that offer. And as a part of his agreement for advertising, was to have a segment on the podcast. And
thank you for having me.
We're here, Reko, and congratulations on coming on here, and you can now put this on your resume, and it won't mean a thing other than it might actually hurt you.
No help.
You obviously do not care about your reputation at all. So.
Well, it's at least going to give me some credibility, right?
Maybe.
I don't think so. Yeah, sure. Well, let's go with that.
Sure.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Reko, let's talk about a couple things first. Obviously, you have a very thick accent. Where are you from, Reko?
Yes, I'm originally from Thailand, Southeast Asia country in Thailand. It's very hot, humid.
Yeah.
You know, I love it though, that tropical feel, you know.
Yeah,
so.
I grew up in Houston, I know. It's pretty hot and humid in Houston.
It's just like Thailand except cement.
Except cement, that's right. Yeah, and a lot more Hispanics than Thailand has. You know?
But I get mistaken that. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yes, definitely.
Actually, the first time I ever met you, which was years ago, I thought you maybe were from the Philippines.
Yeah, Philippine, Hawaiian, Samoan.
Yeah.
They always miss Thailand.
Oh no, I never mistook you for Samoan.
No, not either Samoan.
That's when I was bigger.
The haka. Yeah. I remember the first time I ever saw it, Trinity Euless Trinity High School. And those big Samoan kids came out there. They were playing Judson Carter in the state championship. And Judson Carter was a machine, man. They were blowing everyone off the field all year. And them big Samoan kids come out there and did that haka or whatever they call it. And them
shaking
kids
in their boots.
Them kids cleats. From Judson Carter, their eyes were this big, and they were like, and it was 21-0 within about 2 minutes because they just could not get past that fear those kids put in them.
What is the connection? Isn't it a lot of the Samoans work at the airport?
Yeah, they work at the airport.
And that's Trinity.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
And they go to school there, and man, but if you never have, just Google Trinity Euless, EULESS pregame ritual.
Well, and you can go on during the end of the football season when there's playoffs. You can see all of the Texas playoff games.
On ESPN.
On ESPN. Yeah. If it looks like small colleges, that's just Texas football.
That's just Texas football.
Yep.
You know, of course, they're over there with stadiums that are bigger than a lot of D1s.
Oh yeah. Sometimes when I drive through, I'm like, is that a college?
Yeah. No, high schools.
So, Reko, again, thank you for coming on the podcast with us, and let's get right to it. And first things first, we have to ask you about it.
Yes.
And it was brought up during the debate. You were an employee of the City of El Dorado's police department.
Yes.
You were terminated from your position.
Correct.
Then your file was sent to the to CLEST, the Center for Law Enforcement Standards and Training.
Yes, sir.
And they chose to decertify you as a police officer.
Yes, sir.
Are you running for mayor as a way to get back at the city?
No. The reason why I'm running for mayor, it was this idea was about 4 years ago when I was going to run against, our former mayor, Veronica. But I opted not to because I want to serve my community another, 4 or 5 years to get my 10 years in as a police department. And then, of course, I decided, talked to my wife. She said, well, it's not a good idea, bad timing. And then again, I said, okay. So I let that go. And then, of course, when our current mayor won, against Veronica, I said, well, okay, let's see how this goes. Mm-hmm. As time goes by and I start seeing more and more things that need to be addressed, speaking to people on the street, speaking to the people in the community. And I keep seeing things that have not changed much. It seemed like it's more about me attitude. That's how I see it.
Okay.
It wasn't about the community as one. It seemed like we can be divided. That's when I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and look into this, which are involved in political arena anyway. My father is, and of course I'm politics is. My wife would tell me, I'm tired of your politics way.
I've been there, done that, lived that life.
And that's just me, And the thing is, when I told some of my co-worker at the police department at the time, they go, yeah, I think you'd be a great mayor, because you speak out, because you have that voice, you have the drive and the personal, the feel. Because I'm a very compassionate person, even as an officer, you gotta be careful not be too compassionate because your safety. But at the same time, coming from Thailand and travel the world with my father in the military, I see different culture. I see different way people living, from impoverished nation to the nation that you can be rich. Mm-hmm. And that's why when I came to America as a child, and I like, wow, this is, first, it was scary, okay? Mm-hmm. 10 years old, 10 years old, it was scary. And when I saw snow and on the ground, I picked it up and ate it. Yeah. My mother like, what are you doing? I said, it's pretty cool. So, and the thing is, I grow into society of free world, free market, freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. Just like I say that a lot of my event is, if you so much say something bad about the king or the queen, the monarch, you're going to go to jail. 10, 15 years, whatever. You're done. So that's why I take so much pride here in America. And this is being 250 years anniversary of America. I am so proud I'm still here. And that's why when me and my wife moved to this smaller community for her job with Murphy USA. And I was skeptic at first because I said, well, we live in a larger city. Mm-hmm. We used to that fast-paced, fast life. But when we came here, and I'm like, wow, this is cool, laid back.
Small southern town.
That's it, Southern hospitality. And with that Southern hospitality, at the stop sign, 4-way, everybody looking at it, I'm going, are you going to go?
Somebody has to go.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
You know what the rules there is, right? If four vehicles pull up, stop sign. If they all pull up at the same time, and there's 4 of them, so you can't go the one on the right because there's always someone.
Yeah.
The truck with the biggest tires, they get to go first.
Well, yeah, you might well let them go first. And here's the thing: when I see that, and part of that, like, wow, this is cool. Life go on. So, and then I start getting to know people in the city, and I'm like, wow, hello, how are you? And I noticed something too. A lot of churches around here. Which something I don't see in a bigger city. I mean, it's big, but here it's like, if you notice, every 2-3 blocks there's churches, which is, to me, that's belief in the character, the ethical and the moral value of what you are thinking of as a Southerner. Mm-hmm. And I'm not to be knocking on big city, but everybody's all about like ants, running around.
Yeah.
And here it's just kind of like, okay, sometimes you see people in a hurry, that's normal, but when I came to this town, let's just say, I fall into that, like you say, close-knit community, okay? I saw a building that is empty, and my daughter even mentioned to me, she said, Daddy, where is the mall? So we went to the mall, And she go, Daddy, there's no store in here.
Yeah.
You can throw a penny, you can hear that ding in your echo. I'm like, wow. So me being an entrepreneur, I said, you know what? Let's contact the mall owner and open some business, which I did, full store and a gym. Now, some people say, oh, your business failed. You know and I know. The mall got leaky roof, no air, no heat. Well, I didn't know any better. I'm an outsider, right? Thinking, oh, everything be fine. I lost a lot of money on that. Now, as a business owner, are you going to continue to pour your money into those business and renovate that building for someone that you're not going to own or go under because of you drown with debt? So I made that decision. Say, let's cut this out. Let's start over.
Reko, you brought up a good point, because that question was asked of you during the debate. Is you've had businesses fail, and I think your response was very good. You said, "Look, my business didn't fail.
Correct.
The building owner failed me."
Right.
Which was a great answer. Let me ask you this: did you have anything to do with Iron Temple?
Yes, we were as partner at the time.
So
because
that wasn't in the mall, though.
No. What happened was I have a friend that decided, hey, you know what? Let's get a so-called hardcore gym, because they weren't on here. Just health work before Planet Fitness got here. So we decided, me being a bodybuilder at the time, and I decided, well, let's do this together. And then I decided, well, let's get exposure
He
for the
says that
gym.
like he's not a bodybuilder now. Look at his body and compared to ours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, we got an idea. I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and compete, because I'm used to competing. Let's get some name for ourselves and bring people in, which I did. Then we became Mr. Arkansas, and the business boom after that. More and more people want to be involved in fitness. We got a lot of exposure off of that. Now, thing got little, I can say not heated, but there's disagreement, which going to happen. We have
That's
partnered
gonna
a bit
happen,
here.
yeah.
So, we kind of part way, and that's when I went on and did my own thing at the mall. That's where I got my own gym and stuff like that. But my gym was concentrate more of a smaller facility, personal trainer type, So after that incident, like I said, we part way, but now we're the best of friends. We say, hey, he's a man of God, I'm a man of God. We say, you know what? We learn from that. And we all learn from that. And I'm a firm believer in that, in faith, in how things work the way it's out. That's why I don't hold grudges. That's why when you ask me, am I doing this because I'm getting back at the PD? No. A mayor have limited power. The mayor can't fire the chief. The mayor can't fire an officer, And the thing is, I love those guys. I love working with those guys at the police department. But there are, I feel, in every business, in every,
Organization.
Exactly. You're going to have one or two in there. But as law enforcement, we have to build that trust. We have to have that trust and communicate with the public. Without that trust, we fail. We fail the community, And when we have somebody that speak up and say, let's do the right thing here. And I admit it. I got big mouth, You can call me whistleblower, a tattletale, whatever. But when I believe that your constitutional right is violated or getting a little touchy subject, and me coming from Thailand, like I said, limited, constitutional rights, I'm going to take it serious.
Yeah.
Because that hurt
You appreciate it more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me interject here real quick, Reko. A couple of things. One, all of the questions at the debate, I had put together a committee, anonymous committee. That was one of the things I promised them, is that no one will ever know who was on this committee to help me come up with questions. They did not come up with the questions. They came up with some, whether or not I chose to incorporate those. So It was me. All of those questions, if they pissed you off, it was me. If you thought I was too easy on someone, it was me. If you thought I was too hard on someone, it was me. I immediately, after the debate, I got a whole lot of, man, those questions were tough, but they were fair.
Yes, I agree.
And then after a few days, I started getting some anonymous messages from Facebook pages that no longer exist the day after they send the message, right? It's obvious you're pushing for Reko because you asked him softball questions. I didn't think one question you got was a softball.
No.
The first one. As a matter of fact, I remember telling my wife that night, I said, if I make it down there without Reko whipping my ass when this is over, it's going to be a miracle. These are tough questions.
Arm wrestling.
Here's the thing, and I know, when you answer a tough question right off the gate, you don't have no time to think.
That's right.
You don't have time to make
and
an
you
excuse.
did not know questions. You did not see ahead of time.
I may get a little to say, okay, let's see what I can state, and that's who I am. And that's why I said, those questions that you ask, those are so easy. Seriously, it's easy. I want tougher question. I want more of a question that regarding to what we can do to better our community. And I hate to say this, got a little disappointed because I want more. I wish we could have more time.
Time was the biggest limit. That was our whole thing is we had so many candidates and races, and y'all were the last one of the night.
Yes.
And y'all got more questions than any other candidates did.
Yeah.
And plus, y'all were, I believe, just y'all in the city attorney's race were the only ones that weren't asked the same questions.
Yeah.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado City Attorney.
So you guys are just like State Farm, right?
We barely cover boats by the dock.
Why barely?
You get what you pay for. Our bike coverage leaves out a lot.
I don't have a bike.
Can we just get some momentum on the song? Oh, I'm going. There's damage to your home on this block. We won't make things right, cause filing a claim is tough.
Can't I just do it in an app or call an agent?
No luck. Here comes the best part. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, you're living on a prayer. Oh, my butt cheek.
Should have gone with State Farm.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
Anyone can be so curious. Get ready to see the world more curiously because Blippi is coming to your hometown. The Be Like Blippi Tour. Join Blippi and Mika live on stage for a one-of-a-kind interactive adventure that inspires kids to move like, play like, and explore just like Blippi. Saturday, April 11th, the First Financial Music Hall in El Dorado. Tickets are on sale now at eldomad.com. Break out your orange Blippi glasses for an unforgettable experience that encourages kids to be like Blippi.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family-owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
But and then I got a whole bunch. I say a whole bunch, 2 or 3 messages saying I was obviously for you because there were softball questions. I got 2 or 3 saying, it's very clear you're pushing Paul Schote because you didn't ask him any hard questions. I'm sorry, I thought he got some hard questions too.
Yeah, and then when it was my turn to answer back his question, I answer what the best of my ability, knowledge. That's why I said I'm not at the table right now, but I have a lot of knowledge. And that's important. Experience can do one thing, but knowledge can do more.
So let's talk for a second about your campaign slogan. Let's have some tea.
Yes, sir.
Transparency, equality, accountability.
Yes, sir.
Talk about equality for a moment.
Equality. That's why when I first moved here, I noticed the city is kind of like, well, it's kind of, it's close-knit, but at the same time, if you go to the south side and the north side, you know, from Hillsborough, come up to the north and go to south, it seemed like there's two separate cities. So I had to study up, learn on it, and when I became an officer, I was like, wow, this is like two different cities. It's just like when I used to live in St. Louis, East St. Louis, and St. Louis.
In St. Louis.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, this doesn't feel right. This not right, you know. And as I got to know the people on the south side, I learned about the chicken plant and all that stuff being closed down. It used to be thriving, you know. And I'm like, wow,
hundreds of people employed there.
Exactly. Romeo High used to be thriving, stuff like that. And I said, well. So as I got used to the community, and I said, you know, we need something more. We need something not only for the kid, the grandkid, that to pass this on, because I noticed too, when I first moved here, the population was, before that was like 20-some thousand, and then it
25
dropped.
when I moved here.
And yeah, and when I moved here, it was like 21, and then 19, and, you know, it's dropping, and I'm just like, you know, I can see why. I mean, I'm not trying to separate black or white, but at the same time, equality, it wasn't there. You can see some place, right, well, there's pothole over here, but not over here. And I start to question that, you know. And then I say, well, let's see, get involved more in politics, and I did. And of course, I hope he's not mad at me, Mr. Willie McGee. He's one of my first political, you know, heads that I went to, and he taught me a lot. He told me what's going on. You know, he's very talkative. You know, we all
Willie McGee, yeah. Who would have ever guessed Willie McGee's talking?
But he straight up tell me what's going on, and I use that judgment not to judge, say, hey, negative or positive. You know, I'm kind of in the middle. So I say, well, let's see for myself as I go, and I see it now. There's certain things being done and not being done for certain community. That's why I'm fighting for all 4 wards should be equal. You know, if you're gonna put $1 million here on Ward 2, let's do $1 million here in Ward 3. You know, I understand you can move money around, try to fix things, but let's be fair. Let's concentrate on the impoverished side of the city, because you know and I know crime, people commit crime because they're desperate. Okay, poverty. Causes crime. To reduce crime, we got to combat that too. So
I got to check you on that, Reko. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I disagree. Poverty does not cause crime.
Well,
I think it's a heart issue.
It is.
It's just like, you know, when someone says, "Man, I have a hard time watching my mouth," I figured out it's not my mouth; it's my heart. Because the Bible says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so, when I would pray, I'd say, "Lord, I don't have a language problem; I have a heart problem. Help my heart." And I think when it comes to crime, it's a heart issue, not a poverty issue. Because we've all known poor people who've never robbed a soul.
Yeah.
Never broke into a home.
Yeah, but this what I'm trying to get. Maybe I stated that wrong. But what I'm getting at as a law enforcement, and as what I see, and also work in the casino business in the past, and a lot of crime. Let's say we have a casino here, and there's people that, you know, gonna go rob people for money or whatever. You never see people with money rob somebody for money. You know what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying poverty does not cause crime. Yeah. It is more rampant in an impoverished community.
That's it. It's more rampant. How's that? Yeah, you're right. And that's how, when I see that, I say, okay, I deal with, I work security, also side job at low-income housing. I have a young man that's like 22 years old. He tried to make it, and he made it, and this and that, and he got laid off. And he come to me, you know, he asked me a few bucks, I give it to him, and then I start, you know, say, hey, keep trying, don't let this discourage you. And to a point where I start seeing where he start hanging out with the wrong people, and those people don't even work, don't have a job, and just want to do whatever, you know. And I'm not blaming certain individual, but at the same time, when they get desperate, they do desperate thing. You know, I'm not trying to classify low income as bad people.
Yeah.
Because when they become desperate, they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
You're gonna do what you gotta do.
That's right.
That's right.
And I hate to sound that way, but it's a fact.
Okay, I hate to cut you off, but we're running out of time for your segment, okay? So I want to keep moving here.
Yeah.
Again, I would be remiss if I did not bring it up. Terminated from the police department. I requested all of the documents through the Freedom of Information Act.
Yes.
I got those.
Yes.
I got those from CLEST,
Yes.
the Center for Law Enforcement Training, Standards and Training. I got all those. I've read them front to back probably 8 or 9 times. And I think that there was one thing that glared out to me the most. And I know you can't get into a lot of specifics because there is some litigation and all. So I'm just going to say this. You were asked by your chief of police, have you talked to this person? And you said no.
Right.
On the multiple occasions until they produced evidence that you had.
You are correct.
What are you thinking there, Reko?
What I'm thinking there is at the time there were no lawsuit, let's say lawsuit, legal action. Okay. They came to me and told me, hey, we got something, but we need for you to be aware, but they didn't tell me what. They just say, well, we know you've been talking to so and so and so. And I say, okay, what is this about? This is like 4 month past of the traffic stop incident. And I'm like, this is crazy. What's going on here? So when he told me, he did not want me to speak to the complainant. And I say, no, to myself. I said, there's something going on here. Am I being railroad target or what? So yes, I took action to go and speak to her because I said, hey, what is going on here? Well, she told me all kind of things that, she being targeted to. They call her, try to get her to come in. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Without asking me or investigate into the matter and swept everything under the carpet past 3 months and didn't come to me and talk to me about it. So I got suspicious, yes. So when they said, well, we have evidence that you were talking to her, and then when I got called back in the office and chief asked, have you talked to her? But let me mind you, if you tell me, ask me, and you're a man of God, you said, hey, Reko, please don't tell him you talked to me. You promised me. And I said, yeah, I promised, because she's scared. I said, yes, I promise, I won't, because at this point, we don't know what's going to happen. And I said, okay. So when I got called back in the office, chief, have you speak to her? First thing come through my head was my integrity. Okay,
with that person.
It's with that person because it was.
Listen, we've all done things for CIs, for confidential informants.
Yeah, it was an unlawful order anyway, because at that time I even asked him, is there a lawsuit? He said no. So at that point I can speak to her. There was no conflict of interest. There was no gag order. So I'm gonna investigate being an officer, So, and that's why I went on and said no, because I'm protecting her. Because if I fail her, I fail the society. I can get fired from a job and get another one. But I cannot lose that friendship and the promise that I made to you when I say, yes, I promise you. I didn't promise the chief because I know I cannot say, yes, I promise you, chief. No, I cannot because it was unlawful order. So what I did was I stuck to my oath, sworn oath to the Constitution, to protect the innocent. And I promise you to today, I even told her I won't say anything because she's scared, she's nervous. When she see that individual out at the ball game or something, she freaked out. She looked back, am I being followed? That's scary. And you know how that works. And as an officer of the law, I'm going to abide by my oaths and constitutional rights for you. Let's just say if I say, yes, chief, I talked to her. You don't think we're going to get fired either way?
Right.
Because he said, you defy my order, you fire. But they did not give me up to resign. But they let everybody else resign. They commit a crime. That didn't decertify them. I mean, I can't go too far.
You've not been accused of a crime.
Exactly. Thank you.
I want to be very clear about that. Right. You've not been accused of any crime.
Exactly. Thank you. Because this is internal. This is every job will have that manual, that book say, hey, you can't do this. It's protect the institution.
I've read the manual for the El Dorado Police Department, and I have to be honest with you. Having been a police officer, there's some things there. I'm like, I've noticed.
Thank you.
I've noticed that those aren't followed, or they weren't being followed back then.
Thank you, because now you like, wow, it's not the law. You know that, and when you question some of those, rule, and that's why I say I have problem of following that rule. That's why I say I'm a big mouth, because I speak up, because I know the difference between right and wrong.
Stop bouncing the table, please.
sorry.
It's just, I know that microphone's picking up every time you touch that table.
I'm sorry. When I get excited
I know,
and
I got
say
you.
what I mean, I like to,
Again, I'm not trying to cut you short, but
Nah,
we
you're
only
good.
have so much. We only have so much time. Early voting's going on now.
Yep.
Last question. You're running for the Republican nomination to be mayor.
Yes.
Reko, are you a Republican?
Yes, always have been. Here's the reason. Because when I first come to this country, Ronald Reagan, pretty much my president, I remember this statement. You know, when he made his speech, a gentleman sent him a letter to the White House and read about, you know, you can go to other country and you can become the Frenchman. For example, you go to France, Germany, Italy, you can become Frenchman, German, or Italian. But when you come to America, you can become an American. And that's to me that catch me, that touch me, you know. So I decided to say, you know what, let's just go with this party. And then as time fly, you see different thing with Democrat and Independent. So I kind of be right in the middle. So I became, you know, pretty much can't really say independent, just neutral, you know. So it's nothing wrong with switch back and forth when you were young because you kind of think, okay, this way, that way. So you're like, okay, why not? So now when people say, well, why you run Republican? Here's another good answer for that is, one, I don't want to wait until November. I'll be honest with you. I want to get this done. That's why I announced my running last summer before anybody because my goal, my mind was set.
Yeah, we were there. I was there.
Exactly. And then the only way I'm going to get this across is, you know what, start now and let's go ahead, you know, run against our current mayor right now simply because I want to see changes. I want to see something change. If I win, then let the next best man win. If he win, between him and the next best man, you know. But what I'm trying to do now is what's going on here now. So that's why I made decision where I'm going to go ahead and run against the mayor. If I don't want to wait, you know. I don't want to wait. So that's the.
Got any questions?
I'm good.
Yeah. Reko, thank you so much.
We do appreciate you for having me here today.
Yeah.
So
we
glad to be
appreciate
here.
you
Welcome.
on
Thank
several
you.
levels. We appreciate you coming in and just opening yourself up. And
Yes,
I will
sir.
say this: everything that we've told him, you know, everything we've asked, you've seemed to answer.
Yeah.
And
Forefront.
whether or not people like it or believe it, that's up to them. But
Yeah.
I do appreciate your candor.
Thank you.
And appreciate you coming here. So. We'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
Okay.
When it's not election season. How about that?
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right.
Because I got a lot of stuff, you know, going on right now. So there'll be more.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.